You're listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast
with Doc Dylan
and Brandy.
We empower high performers with a 3-part strategy of hope,
Self-agency, goals, and proven frameworks,
so that you can reach your potential
and the highest quality of life. How's it going? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Hope Not Nope podcast. A listener named Addie asks, growing up, I was always told to take an Epsom salt bath after a game or a hard practice.
Same.
Does this, right? Does this genuinely help the muscle recovery and soreness, or are the benefits mostly placebo? Can I throw in a story too before
Yes, you can.
jump in? So, as our listeners, not most, but our listeners may know if you've been listening for a long time, I had this condition called complex regional pain syndrome, which essentially the brain was perceiving my foot as a threat after I had a stress fracture. So it would send pain signals to my foot all the time. Walking hurt. I had a boot on. The boot hurt to have on, but having the boot off, I was afraid that I would slip and fall and all of that. Having a sock on hurt. My foot would be like super, super, super cold. There were nights where my mom would wrap aluminum foil around my foot to keep it warm through the night. Like, just like all these things, because I don't know, you're just trying to help your daughter. But one of the things that they had me do was put my foot in blazing hot Epsom salt bath. And I remember feeling the most excruciating pain. But I look back and I'm like, my brain was already perceiving my foot as a threat and it being painful. So I don't really know. Was it the Epsom salt? We'll find out from Doc Dylan very soon. Or was it just my brain was in such a threat already with my foot that anything would hurt it at the time, you know? So I don't know the answer. What's the answer, Doc?
Getting salty.
Getting salty. Hopping in the ocean.
So, to add to that story, not from a complex regional pain perspective, but from a muscle soreness perspective, it was the same thing for me after football games.
Yeah.
You get home, Epsom salt bath, try to get recovered for the next day, because the next day we're hitting the weight room again and going at it. So you're looking for any recovery strategy that you could. And I think this one has been probably one of the most traditional ones passed down, I think, for years. And I think it goes far back, like biblically, with the Dead Sea.
Oh.
And how like salty some of those bodies of water were, and how people would go in and get healed and come back. And, you know, kind of for generations, like, I know it wasn't my parents' idea that like Epsom salt's helpful. And I know they got it from their parents, and I don't know where their parents got it from and where their parents got it from, but it's been this long thing that has been around for a while. So the nice thing about it is that it's been researched now, because people get curious and they want to know, hey, is it actually helpful? Is it the salt? Is it just the bath? And the research has shown that it's just the bath.
Yeah.
That you can, and specifically the research has looked at, have a control group. And this is specifically to delayed onset muscle soreness, right? Yeah. So recovering from muscle soreness. We'll kind of stick with that category.
Not complex regional pain.
Complex regional pain. So we'll stick with that category for this. You have a control group that usually does nothing. Just live your life. We'll see what happens. How sore are you the next day after a protocol that creates soreness? Second group, we're going to put you in a hot water bath, just a warm bath, you know,
cozy.
And the third group,
a little candle.
The third group, we're going to put you in that same bath, same temperature, same amount of time, but now we're going to add the Epsom salt. What the research has shown is that the two groups that were in the warm bath had perceived improvements in recovery, meaning the next day they said, yeah, I feel better. The control group didn't have that. So then you look at the differences between the Epsom salt group and the no salt group, and there's no difference between the two. So the conclusion from this research is that it wasn't the salt that created it, it was just the warm bath that created the effect. So you don't need the salt in there. The next line of research that I look at when I started investigating this too, just because I wanted to know.
You're a curious guy.
Just a curious guy, is the thought, at least that I was told at one point in my life, is that the Epsom salt is beneficial because it comes in through your skin and helps to heal through that. Well, okay, let's research that and see, like, does this actually come through? And there's this one article that the lead author, I do not know how to say the first name, but the second name is like Groger on it. And she did this systematic review that was looking at basically ingesting magnesium,
Mm.
or other forms of this, or having it transdermally delivered, and seeing like what is the effect. And the effect was that it doesn't really penetrate through the skin as much as that we would think that it does. And the article is very in depth. It talks about guinea pigs being washed in different types of salt water, different types of water filled with different types of magnesium, and seeing like how much did it get into the bloodstream, and then can we repeat that on humans, and all that. And yeah, it showed that transdermally not is it doesn't get through that skin barrier.
It makes me
So
think back to my pre-Dylan wellness trend days of being an essential oil girl.
mm,
And one of the essential oils that I had was supposed to help with menstrual cramps.
mhm.
And you put it on like your lower stomach to help with the menstrual cramps or whatever. And I look back now with this information and I'm like, okay.
Right. If these things are able to penetrate the skin that easily,
Hmm.
the best way to hydrate a joint would be to take a shower.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you got a sore knee, like arthritic knee, just go dump a bucket of water on it.
Go hop in a pool.
That'll hydrate it, lubricate it up, you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
But that doesn't work because our skin is meant to be a barrier
Yeah.
to things getting into it. And it's pretty effective at that. You know, if you have a giant cut, like it's a little less effective, but then there's a whole immune system that comes and fights it. So
Right.
it's meant to not allow things to come into it to a deep layer. Can it get into some of the superficial layers? Yeah, maybe, but it's not getting into those deeper layers of like where a muscle is going to be for that. So we see that, yeah, the Epsom salt doesn't absorb into the skin,
Mhm.
and that if it's for muscle recovery, it's not the presence of the Epsom salt that creates the recovery. It's more likely the warm bath. And then what's interesting is we look in that, and you mentioned earlier, like, oh, light a candle, make it cozy. Like that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like when we're looking at recovery strategies, part of it is just having some stillness, having some downtime. And for a lot of people, whether it's a warm bath or a warm Epsom salt bath, it's a moment in the day where they get to shut the door and not have things
Yeah.
coming in as input, right? So that's beneficial
Hmm.
in itself. And if the Epsom salt makes that time feel a little bit more special than a regular bath where you want to go with like a bubble bath, like by all means go for it, right?
Yeah.
The expense of Epsom salt is very low.
Yeah. Compared to like bath bombs are probably like $10 per bomb. Even
Right.
even though your bath water might not turn purple with the Epsom salt,
Right.
but
It's like Dr. Teal's Epsom salt bag,
yeah.
a huge bag of that for pretty cheap. And it's not like it's harmful
Hmm.
of having it in there. It just doesn't do anything more than if
Yeah.
you just had the warm water. But again, if it makes it feel more special, it's fine.
Hmm.
Like, you can go for it. And then physiologically, I think it's interesting to talk about the warm water itself too, because when we look at recovery, and I know cold plunging was a huge thing that was happening and is still happening. Then we started to see the research of, hey, being immersed in that cold water might be blunting some of the hypertrophic effects,
Mm.
or might be affecting the recovery. It might perceived you feel like you can come back and perform, but physiologically something a little bit differently is happening. Well, then we look at things like sauna or warm water immersion, and we see physiologically that it might be a little bit differently. I remember taking those Epsom salt baths, and not that the water was incredibly hot, but it's warm.
Hmm.
And it's like you're sweating, right? So you're getting a stressor
Mm.
that's sub threshold of what the other stressor was of playing the game. That is now your body's recovering because it's another lower stressor that's adapting to.
Mm.
So I think that like physiologically, a warm bath does help that in a sense, more so than like what cold water plunging would do. But again, the question of the Epsom salt, like you do the warm water, you don't need to add the Epsom salt. It's just if it's your preference
Yeah.
and you want to do it, cool, do it, but you don't need it.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I'm not a bath person. So
Mhm.
both sound like a terrible time to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe you're a hot tub person.
Yeah, I'd go in a hot tub or like a pool or a lake, but baths for whatever reason, that's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Could you just go for a walk or like sit down and take a breather and sit in nature? Like, is that going to have the same effect as an Epsom salt bath practically?
It could,
Mm-hmm.
right? It could. I think it's a difference of most of the time when you're doing those things like a walk or being out in nature, you have to be more disciplined
Mm.
because you probably should have your phone on you for safety reasons, but now there's the temptation to be on your phone. Where when you're in a bath, the risk of having your phone in the bath is higher for most people
Yeah.
that they're not going to say like, oh, let me fill up the bathtub and hold my phone over it. Oops, drop my phone in the
Yeah.
water. There it goes. So it kind of sets that barrier for you to have true stillness and not being, you know, just continuously pegged with inputs
Mm-hmm.
of, oh, you know what? Oh, well, let me open up that email while I'm sitting here. Oh yeah, let me get back to that text. Oh yeah, let me text this person, that person. Like, no, your job is to have some stillness and to be quiet and not have notifications and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the bath kind of creates a barrier for that to happen. Where some of the other ones, yeah, like physiologically, it's similar, right? It's like going for a walk kind of kicks off that cascade as well. But can you be disciplined to neurally let yourself recover
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
in that? So, yeah, it could be a warm bath. Could be a warm bath with Epsom salt if you have that preference. Could be a warm bubble bath. It could be a hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a walk. Like figure out what that thing is for you that helps you recover. Sitting in a sauna, like whatever works for you. Cool. Go and do that. And then it's just understanding, well, what's the benefit versus the risk? Well, there's not really an added benefit of Epsom salt, but the risk is really low.
Mm.
If you want to buy it, it's not that expensive compared to some other things that are in the recovery
Mm-hmm.
marketing space.
Could you add could you add like mobility or like yoga or something to it? Not as a workout, but as a recovery of like, let me just take 10 minutes and stretch essentially just to like not because it's changing the muscles or anything like that, but it's just like a time where I can breathe
Mm-hmm.
and flow, if you will. Like, would that be, could that be added, or is that a different thing because like you're kind of moving your body more actively as opposed to sitting in nature or in a bubble bath or whatever?
Yeah, I think it can be added. I think this is where it really gets to like the preference. So like someone like myself, like that does not work well for me for
Yeah,
recovery.
it is not
Like
your
that is
thing.
more stressful, not from the sense of like, right, like doing mobility work is less stressful than a 400-pound deadlift,
Sure.
like less stress, less load. But the concept of it, like, is stressful to me.
Yeah.
Like I know what helps me recover and I know where I can get mobility. Like I get my mobility work in my training program.
Hmm.
I don't need my mobility work to be part of recovery. I can do other things that are lower intensity that help me recover that I enjoy doing versus forcing this thing to happen.
Mm, gotcha.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
Cool concept.
yeah. And the only other thing I would add in there is we talked on muscle recovery and delayed onset muscle soreness and things like that. But another population is chronic arthritis.
Mm,
And it's interesting there that the research has shown that very similar things that warm water immersion with or without Epsom salt bath led to a decrease in the response of pain or the report of pain compared to not doing anything.
mm,
And again, it's not because the salt is penetrating into the skin and getting to the knee and helping with cartilage. It's the warm sensation generally feels good. There's probably something physiologically happening, kicking off a recovery cascade because you are sweating a little bit. You're getting a stimulus. And I think most importantly, you're giving your sympathetic nervous system a little bit of a rest and allowing the parasympathetic system to kick off into recovery because you're doing something that's perceived to be beneficial and you're not getting the other stressors with it. And we see with things like chronic arthritis that sympathetic tone matters, that it's not this condition that your bones are just grinding on top of each other. It is a condition where the hyaline cartilage is starting to wear a bit, but not from the grinding, but because of the amount of inflammation in the body.
mm,
And not just from what you're eating, but from connectedness, purpose, holding grudges, resentment, like all of these things play a role in that particular condition.
mm.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Hope story.
Sure. Have I have a hope story, but I feel bad, but I genuinely don't remember if we shared it in a previous one. But have we shared about the kayaks?
I was just thinking about that too. I think we
Yeah.
did.
Oh man, that was gonna be my
Yeah.
hope story. I think just in general, like,
Because I remember talking about the fish,
yeah,
but
but
I've told so many people about that that I don't
story.
remember.
I think my hope story is more a generalization of I love summertime
Hmm.
and especially in upstate New York and just like this area of the country as a whole. Especially this past year, our winter was just like rough. And not
Hmm.
not to talk about the weather all the time, but like I just feel like this winter was kind of rough. And we had just moved and there was a lot of stressors during the winter months of having a new house and all the things. And it's just been very nice to enjoy the warm weather, sit on our deck, sit in the back porch, go on the lake, and enjoy our new space and really experiencing the seasons for the first time because we haven't been in our new home for a year yet. So we're like experiencing the seasons in our new place for the first time, which has just been so awesome. And I just love the summer as a whole. So my hope story is very simple, but also just I love summer.
Go summer.
Go summer. It's the best time of year.
Yeah. Just trying to think. Ah, never mind.
What?
More likely to do a warm water bath in the winter or the summer?
I don't like baths. But if you
Neither.
were to ask me a hot tub,
Hmm.
I think I would hop in a hot tub more in the winter
Yeah.
than in the summer at any time. But I like nighttime hot tubs in the summer because of the stars, but then the air isn't as like cold on your uppers.
Yeah.
Like if your shoulders are out, it's not as like cold in the
Yeah.
summertime. But
Yeah. Mosquitoes.
skeeters.
They be
We go
coming.
get the little tiki things. I don't even know if those work, but you know the like tiki things that are supposed to get the
Right.
yeah, that now that's a setup. Not that we have a hot tub. Maybe we will,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And I wonder if the tiki torches are like Epsom salt in the sense of like, hey, just pass it down generation to generation and it
yeah.
works, or if it actually works, if there's been research on that. Not that we're going to do an episode on that, but I
No.
might look into that for fun.
Yeah, exactly. Curious Doctil.
But thank you for listening. Happy summer.
Mhm.
Thank you for the question. Have a great week. And remember that high performance isn't just about using the strategy of hope, it's about becoming hope.
Thank you for listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast. Please subscribe and share this episode. This podcast is for educational and personal development purposes only and is not considered health or medical advice. For personalized support, connect with a Hope Coach at hopenotnope.org.